Mr. Campbell, when did you first come to Muncie?
About 20 years ago, about 22 years ago.
Where did you personally come from?
A little small town called Fountain City, Indiana. A little small town called Fountain City, Indiana. I was in the service first, and then my mother moved here. And then I came, when I got out of service, I came here to Muncie in 1949 to live.
When did your parents come here? What year? Do you remember what year they came here? I
can't tell you what year it was. It was between 41 and 49, about 45, I think.
What is your present age, and where do you reside now in Muncie?
I'm 53 years old, and I live at 1110 North Burns.
Can you give any description of how Muncie was like when you first came to Muncie and how it's changed?
Yes, I can. Things have really changed here in Muncie because it used to be kind of hard to get a job around here. All the good jobs were taken. But things have moved to have progress now. It's not quite as hard for our people to get jobs like it used to be.
What specific job did you apply for when you first came to Muncie?
I was more fortunate than most of them. I went to Chevrolet and applied for a job, and they told me that they weren't hiring right then. But I knew a friend of mine that was on the inside. See, I belonged to the Catholic Church, and there was some friends of mine that were Catholic and knew the plant manager. And through my friends, I got in to work at Chevrolet 3 days after they told me there weren't no jobs.
Just a minute, I'm going to test something. Where were the schools located then, and where did your children go, and how many children do you have?
My children went to West Longfellow Elementary, and the East Longfellow wasn't here then. I mean, until later, until my kids got later. Oh, they went to Central, went to Central High School, and went to Keener Junior High.
What problems do you recall running to as being a black man in Muncie? Do you have any specific problems that you ran into?
You got me there. All I ever done was work. After I got the job, I didn't have much trouble. I applied for a few jobs that I didn't get because I didn't have a high school education, as said. But after I got my high school education, at 51 years old, and then I was really too old to really apply for the jobs then. But I've had some refusals and different things, but it's still not as bad as it used to be.
How did you take those refusals, and where did most blacks work then, and what kind of social life did they have? Did this have anything to do with it?
My social life was very skimming. We used to go out to these different little old clubs around town here. Arthur Moose, the Industry Club, the Industry, Cotton Club. What was that thing up over top of that grocery store here on Highland Avenue? I don't know what that was. That's been years ago. VFW? Oh, American Legion. That's American Legion. Yeah. Oh, the workout club. But they had a little old club up there we used to go to. Really, there wasn't too much. There was more then than there is now to go to, as far as Negroes going for entertainment.
Do you recall any Negro doctors or lawyers or first postman? Could you maybe mention a few of their names?
Frank Baker was a postman, was the first postman. and Dr. Brooks was the first dentist, and Dr. Smith James was the first Negro doctor here in town.
Do you recall any incidents of the Klan? Was there such a group as the Klan here, and where did blacks live? And
I don't know nothing about the Klans because I've never come in contact with anything like it.
Do you know of any prominent Negro black families or any Negroes who were on newspaper columns or of a nature like this? And do you ever recall of a Negro being elected to a public office in Muncie?
Not until the later years. I haven't known nobody to be elected to these different offices like they are now. Before, it was unheard
of. Politically, are you really politically involved, and do you tend to vote for the same party your mother voted for? Or you don't have to answer this question if it's real sensitive toward you, or do you vote for the man?
I never did anything just because someone else did it. I'm an individual. I've always felt this way. I like to vote who I think is a qualified person, regardless to who it is.
What do you think about the black church? Do you think the black preachers play this part in the role of helping black people gain their freedom and equality?
Farther back they didn't, but now later on in later years, recently, as the ministers are coming to the front more so than they used to. I mean, they were the big shots then, and they felt like that's the way it should be, and they didn't seem to want to help no one else. But now, since everybody else, the education has played such a strong pull upon society that they have to go along and kind of help everybody else out a little bit now, whether they want to or not.
What issues do you find most blacks discussing now? What are they more concerned about? Are they concerned about a house, food, or clothing, just the primary needs, or are they concerned about politics, who will get what, when, and how?
I think most people are concerned about a good job. If they got a good job and they have the money that they can buy and go anywhere they want to with it, that's all they really want. Most of the people want a good job and some of them want a good education.
How do you feel about the issue of blacks committing, perpetuating crime against blacks? Do you think they get a fair trial, or that when blacks commit a crime against each other, that okay?
Lord, that question you hit there is a sore spot to me. I mean, a Negro who kills a Negro or harms a Negro, he hasn't done nothing. He doesn't get no time. I mean, in almost 24 hours, he's free. I mean, if we kill one another up, I mean, you ain't done nothing. But you better not kill one of them.
Who's one of them?
One of the white people. I mean, they'll do something for you then. But I think they're way too lax with crime. I mean, there's too much Negro crime among ourselves. We call ourselves soul brothers and together, and soul brothers are supposed to be together. But I think they got to find out what soul brothers really is. And I like to tell them about Christ, because that's the soul brother to me.
Do you consider, is there any underlying reasons why blacks are involved in so much crime? Is it because of their social standing condition and lack of status?
I think what you said does cause a great concern. But really, a lot of these people who cause these things don't want nothing. You couldn't give them a job. They just hang around on the street doing nothing. Getting little hands out first thing or another, stealing all they can. And some of the people who are involved in this, they really don't want nothing. And others, they just do it for kicks, just to be doing something.
Who would you consider? Is there anybody in Muncie that blacks can go to? Is there any white people in Muncie that blacks can go to and say, look, we're in a bind. I think we ought to have some things that we have worked for and strive for, but people have always turned their back on us. Is there anybody you can go to? Is anybody listening to black people in Muncie?
You got me there, because I don't know too many influential people. I know a few of the 12 disciples. The 12 disciples are the people, the 12 powers that run Muncie. Most people don't realize that there are 12 influential people that run Muncie. There is 12 disciples that are running Muncie, and I know 3 of them. But I don't know what you can do. I don't know how you can get things done.
When you refer to the 12 disciples, are they businessmen, or who are the 12 disciples?
There are 12 men at actually run Muncie. And I can't name them all. Mr. White is one of them. I forget Charles White, I think his name. And Alexander Bracken from Ball's Foundation is the other one. And John Hotmar for number 3. Oscar Schadler, and there's a couple of others, but I can't call their names. But there is 12 disciples. They call themselves the 12 disciples. Very few people, business people. There's a lot of white people don't even know this. The 12 disciples. I've learned it through working with the center and being around some people.
Do you think these men and their ideas is holding back social relations?
Definitely, I know they're holding back things. You can see how hard the Hupper Foundation was to get it started and built out here, and how they couldn't get lights put out here to the electrician to do the work. How long it took to get it done. There's a lot of things you get things that they don't want done, and when the 12 powers go against you, then you can't get it done.
Then you're saying it's a money thing, where those who in power with the money are in controls, and they call all the shots in Muncie, and a lot of those shots are at black people. Is this what you're saying?
I think you're correct.
Mr. Campbell, out of all of this, which way do you see blacks going? Do you think them going for integration, separation? Where do you think they're going now? What are the youth thinking? How can the older generation get together and kind of go in some kind of meaningful direction? A lot of people are saying right on, but I don't know if they wonder or even know where to. Could you comment on this? Just where are we going?
Well, you asked a big question there, because if we continue to go the way we're going now without any guidance, spiritual guidance I'm speaking of, because we are running around here talking about black power and this, that, and the other, and we want this and equal rights. I think we have a minimum amount of rights, and I think we have enough leaders to know how to do these things, but I think we are falling down on our spiritual side. Our spiritual side has went down so low that we don't have no regard for each other in so many instances. Really, I think the spiritual side has to be thought of rather than the black or the white right now in this particular instance.
Do you feel that blacks, because they had the spiritual, say in 40s, the 30s, 20s, on up until maybe the 60s, and blacks started looking and said they've been praying, to everybody, and even to God, and their prayers hadn't been answered. Do you think there was more respect because of this spiritual thing than it is now amongst blacks, or is there a lack of respect?
Among who? Blacks. Among the blacks. Oh, the younger blacks. No, they They think if we are old fogies. I mean, we have stayed quiet so long, the older folks are. And truly, some of us have stayed quiet. But there has been leaders that have spoke out. And but maybe, like you say, not enough of. A lot of them for jobs, a lot of them fear of the families and whatnot. A lot of that was why. But now, some of the youth who are just crying, I mean, they don't, I mean, I see some little young guys, 15 years old, who don't know what we went through. And still they want to talk about what they didn't do and why you didn't do this. I mean, well, what were some of the things specifically that you went through?
What was one thing that you could put your finger on that you specifically went through that maybe you might find hard for some young guy 15 years old to understand?
I can't think of too much of that because I've always been kind of headstrong when I was young. I went through the depression, but I went through the depression, yes. And the depression, I have eaten out of garbage cans. I have taken the leftover food that people didn't eat at restaurants, be restaurant places, and I take it home and boil it and stew it. My mother would fix it all up for us for something to eat. Yeah, there was 3 of us, and we had a hard time during the depression. And like you say, the younger children today wouldn't stand for some of the things that went on today. They'd steal, break in, do everything. But I'll still say our answer, our society and our groups of people on both sides are falling so far away from God. That God is our answer on all of these questions you've answered me, that you've asked me about, until we begin to turn our minds towards God. Until we begin to see that there is a reality in serving the Almighty God. And not the God that the white man has pictured for you. Not the way he has done it. But really serving the Almighty God the way that we have to see it. That we have to believe in it. Because we all know there is a spiritual human being somewhere. There's some kind of spirit, somebody holding this earth inactive. Somebody doing something somewhere. I don't know what he looked like. He might not be like I think he is. But there is somebody. And until we turn to that somebody and begin to get an idea and go back and teach our young ones about God, this world will never get no better. It was all our planning. There ain't no answers to it. Only through Him.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, and I'd like to thank you a lot for allowing me to interview you. And if you have anything else further to say, maybe I should comment that you do work for the White Community Center and you work with children. Maybe you want to comment on that.
I like working for the White Community Center. I've been offered a better job at my shop. We'll go on nights as an operator, which would compensate me more money than what I'm making here. And I'll only be working one job. But to me, the kids would go undone. There's too many kids running the streets. Too many things need to be done. And our Gateway has offered me $6,000 a year to come over there and work part-time. $6,000. This is the part-time job. And I turned them down because I don't make no way near $6,000 a year. But I turned them down because Whitey needs us. This is my end of town. I like it. I know the children. And I like working with them. And some way or another, one of these days, I hope to see a new Whitey Community Center. This is my hopes.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Campbell.